"My name is Reagan," she announced, eyeing me as if assessing a new recruit. "Looks like you're the fresh face around here. Just so you know, aligning with me could pretty much set your social status. Fancy becoming a part of the in crowd? You might want to consider extending me an invitation to friendship." Her words, veiled in an insinuation of power, barely masked the underlying intimidation. In response, I did nothing but fix her with a steady gaze for a brief moment before sidestepping her presence entirely, leaving a ripple of laughter in my wake. The embarrassment seemed to carve a deep grudge within her against me. My reverie is abruptly shattered by a paper missile to my forehead, Regan's signature move, unmistakably. Despite the rising tide of frustration, especially given her pivotal role in our summons to Principal Samantha's sanctum, my thoughts are preoccupied with the impending confrontation. The scenario unfolds in Principal Samantha's office on a dreary Monday afternoon, the tension palpable. As I brace myself to unleash my pent-up grievances, the principal's entrance halts me in my tracks. "Come in," she beckons. My anxiety renders me mute, merely capable of a nod in acquiescence, while Reagan manages a respectful, "Yes, ma'am," and follows suit. Emerging half an hour later, the weight of another detention sentence presses down on me, a grim reminder of my dwindling aspirations. How many more detentions before my record is tarnished beyond repair, jeopardizing my dreams of Ivy League acceptance? Reagan, oblivious to my turmoil, casually mentions our detention rendezvous tomorrow, her nonchalance adding insult to injury. As she confidently walks away, I head home, discovering my dad's car absent from the garage. Using my key, I enter and flick on the lights, only to be startled by the sight of my dad seated on the couch. "You almost gave me a heart attack, Dad," I exclaim, expecting a smile that never comes. Silence stretches between us until I move towards my room, prompting him to finally speak. "I'm not okay," he begins, the weight of concern in his voice. "Your school called again." "Summer, exactly how many detentions are you aiming for?" he questions, his disappointment evident. He fixes his gaze on me, urging an explanation. "It's not my fault, Dad. Really, I defend. Reagan has been targeting me since day one." His response is a mumble, laced with disbelief. Undeterred, I recount the day's events. "It happened during our last class. Reagan hit me with a paper while I was drawing." I ignored her, but she persisted, drawing laughter from everyone. She was about to throw another when the teacher caught on, seeing the paper scattered around me, and mistakenly thought we were passing notes, leading to another visit to the principal's office. I detail Regan's relentless efforts to alienate me, initiating a cafeteria food fight resulting in spaghetti entangled in my hair, orchestrating my humiliation post-gym class by stealing my clothes and tripping me repeatedly. It's no wonder the other kids keep their distance. I must seem like the clueless new girl, I conclude, grimacing at the thought. At the mention of my disdain for Reagan, my dad finally laughs, a moment of levity amidst the trials of navigating new and challenging social dynamics at school. With the prior discussion concluded, we shifted our focus to the perennial dilemma of deciding on dinner, a task that always seemed more complex for us. Unlike many families where the mother plays a pivotal role in such decisions, our dynamic was different. It was just Dad and me. For instance, the milestone conversation about periods, which typically involves a mother, fell to my dad in our household, a scenario that was as unconventional as it gets. Our duo has always navigated life's moments together without me feeling the absence of something more. My dad has poured into me all the affection he possesses, compensating for the love my mother couldn't offer. Their relationship was brief. She left shortly after my birth, unprepared for motherhood. Her absence, perhaps dulled by my lack of memories, doesn't sting as one might expect. After settling on what to make for dinner, I went upstairs. Later, as we cooked together, I inquired about the absence of his car earlier. Dad explained with a light laugh that he and Aaron had carpooled home. Aaron, he mentioned, had intended to join us for dinner but was pulled away by a work crisis, taking Dad's car with the promise of returning it the next day. Aaron's mention probably raises eyebrows. With no mother in the picture and Dad's long hiatus from dating, his introduction of Aaron as more than a friend was startling. The notion of my dad's sexuality changing seemed incongruous. The atmosphere at home is pretty laid back. Dad and Aaron's meeting story is rooted in the salon Dad owns, and frankly, that's as much as I care to delve into their history. After we wrap up dinner, I leave Dad in the living room, engrossed with practicing braids on a mannequin. Yes, you heard that right, a life-sized mannequin. It might sound unusual, but as a professional hairdresser, Dad is always honing his skills. I bid him goodnight and retreat to my room, promptly dialing my best friend's number. She picks up, and on my cue, opens her window. There she is, just across from me, my neighbor and best friend. It's incredibly special to have her so close, though our paths have diverged with me moving to a new school due to some unsavory events at our previous one, details of which are unnecessary here. Our conversations often revolve around my ongoing struggles with Reagan at my new school. We refer to Reagan only as PG, for Pretty Girl, a code name that encapsulates all the trouble she stirs. Upon sharing the latest episode of Reagan's antics, Quinn, visibly frustrated, insists we put an end to this ongoing saga. Quinn sketches out a strategy for the following day, gather compelling evidence against Reagan to deter her from further harassment. However, my search at school yields no sightings of Reagan, an ironic twist given my intent. As the final bell rings, all I yearn for is the comfort of my bed, yet the reality of detention looms over me. Arriving at the designated room, I note Reagan's absence, which fuels my frustration as the session nears its end without her appearance. Seeking a brief escape, I head to the restroom. En route back, the echo of a noise against the lockers catches my attention. Peering around the corner, I spot a flash of red hair unmistakably belonging to Reagan. My curiosity piqued, I approach stealthily and find her entangled in an embrace with an unfamiliar boy. Seizing the moment, I discreetly capture the scene with my phone's camera, ensuring the images are clear. The boy, a stranger to our school, is of no concern to me. After documenting the encounter, I intentionally cough, prompting their hasty separation. Reagan's glare is venomous as she pulls the boy away, disappearing from sight. Once home, I eagerly share the photographic evidence with Quinn, who is thrilled by the prospect of leveraging this information. Quinn plans to visit me the next day, bringing along a friend from her swim class, hinting at a brewing scheme. The following morning, as I approach the school, Reagan intercepts me, her gaze sharp and probing. She demands to know what I witnessed. I adopt an air of naivety, denying any knowledge of her activities. Her warning is clear, yet as she departs with a haughty flip of her hair, my temper flares. I retort, suggesting that while my words may not carry weight, the photographic proof I possess speaks volumes, hinting at the power of the images now at my disposal. Her steps falter, betraying her shock as I flash a triumphant smile and stride into the school, tallying an invisible score in my favor. The strict decorum of our school, where even a hug with the opposite sex is the boundary of permissible affection, looms over her. The knowledge that presenting the photograph to the principal could spell trouble for Reagan fills me with a sense of victory, and her avoidance for the remainder of the day only elevates my spirits. Returning home to an empty house, I opt for the simplicity of ordering pizza over cooking. As I indulge in my meal and lose myself in an episode of my story animated, Quinn arrives, accompanied by a person whose identity sends my mood plummeting, Reagan. The initial discomfort gives way to an uneasy silence, broken only by Quinn's attempts to navigate the tension, her confusion apparent. It dawns on me then, the oversight of not sharing Reagan's identity with Quinn, a misunderstanding born from our penchant for initials. Quinn, having recently befriended Reagan through swimming lessons, is caught in an unexpected crossfire of allegiances. Reagan, for her part, seems unfazed, quickly asserting that any plans for retribution, especially directed at her, are off the table. She then demands to see the incriminating photos. Hesitantly, I hand over my phone to Quinn, who shows the images to Reagan under the watchful eyes of our small assembly. The moment is shattered by the sound of the door opening, revealing my dad and Aaron. Greetings are exchanged, and in that brief distraction, Reagan seizes the opportunity to snatch my phone. A chaotic scuffle ensues as we struggle to reclaim it. In a swift turn of events, the phone slips from our grasp, crashing to the floor. When we manage to retrieve it, the sinking realization hits. Reagan has erased the photos, wiping away the leverage I had held moments before. Dad and Aaron, sensing the tension, decide to withdraw from the unfolding drama, opting for the sanctuary of an upstairs movie. Regan's gaze lingers on them as they ascend, her mind visibly racing with potential manipulations. The moment they disappear, a wave of relief washes over me, fearing what Regan might concoct if they had lingered. Despite my openness about Dad's bisexuality, Regan's potential for mischief concerns me. Aaron's shout from upstairs, playfully asking for a hug for my dad, catches Regan's attention. She quickly pieces things together, her expression morphing into a sly sneer as she probes about my dad's sexuality. Her attempt to stir discomfort falls flat as I confirm Dad's bisexuality, yet the power dynamics shift unmistakably in her favor with the deletion of the photos. Quinn intervenes, whispering to Regan, and a brief exchange later, an uneasy truce is formed. Regan, valuing her friendship with Quinn, agrees to a ceasefire of sorts. She promises silence on my dad's sexuality and an end to her tormenting, contingent on my compliance with her demands. Reluctantly, I agree, desperate for reprieve from high school's relentless harassment. But as Regan scans the room, her gaze settles on the hairdressing mannequin. A mischievous grin spreads across her face, and she issues her first command under this new accord: call the doll Mom. The simplicity of the demand belies its cruelty, a stark reminder of the precarious balance of power now at play. The absurdity of her demand catches me off guard, leaving me momentarily speechless. She wants me to publicly acknowledge my dad's mannequin, the one he uses for hairstyling practice, as my mother. Her request is not just bizarre, it's calculated humiliation. With a chilling calmness, she specifies her condition. I must proclaim the doll as my mom during the school lunch hour, loud enough for all to hear. Her threat looms large. If I refuse, she vows to distort and disparage my dad's bisexuality to an extent far beyond the current scope of my troubles. Regan's swift departure leaves a stunned silence in her wake. Quinn, witnessing the entire exchange, is mortified and apologetic, though I reassure her that she bears no blame. The complexity of our social web was unknown to her. After Quinn heads home, I spend a restless night wrestling with my dilemma. Defiance could escalate Regan's vendetta, potentially ostracizing me further. Compliance, on the other hand, might invite ridicule, but promises respite from her torment. By morning, my resolve crystallizes. Leveraging my dad's sexuality as a weapon crosses a line of decency I refuse to let Regan trample. The emotional weight of carrying the mannequin to school feels like a tangible burden, a symbol of the impending spectacle. Lunchtime arrives with a palpable sense of foreboding. Regan's casual snap serves as the dreaded cue. Heart pounding, I brace myself for the inevitable, trying to push past the anxiety and the absurdity of the situation, determined to face whatever comes next. Deciding to embrace the moment fully, I transform what could have been a moment of humiliation into an impromptu performance. With the doll in hand, I ascend the lunch table, drawing the eyes of my peers with deliberate foot stomps. The cafeteria falls silent, curiosity piqued. "Hi, everybody. I have someone here. I want you to meet my mom," I announce, elevating the mannequin for all to see. I call her Mom. "This is my mom," I declare, embracing the doll for emphasis before making my descent. The crowd's reaction is a mix of bewilderment, concern, and barely contained amusement. Scanning the sea of faces for Regan, I expect to find satisfaction. Instead, I'm met with her frustration. It becomes clear why as applause and laughter break out, not the scornful kind, but an acknowledgement of my audacity. Regan hadn't anticipated this twist. Neither had I. In flipping the script, I've steered my high school narrative toward a new, unexpectedly less daunting path.